Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words, become much more articulate. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about only the paranoid survive. In 1988, there was a gentleman named Andy Grove who was the CEO of Intel, and he came out with a book called Only the Paranoid Survive. At first, you may be thinking, wait a minute, this guy is only saying that to sell more books. But I would say that that's not the only reason why. Because when breaking it down, Andy was coming at it from a technology perspective. He was the head honcho of a microprocessor company in the technology industry. And throughout the book, he talks about how changes in technology start off very little, but little turns into gargantuan. And once the change has become gargantuan, it's too late to adapt. You need to spot the change in the subtle area, and that's why being paranoid is a good thing. Because paranoid people look out for the subtle. Now, when you're hearing this, it's easy to take this advice in the incorrect way. Because anyone could get paranoid. Heck, you probably just watched the paranormal activity recently, and you've been more paranoid than ever. But understand that there's two kinds of paranoia out there. There's the bad kind, and then there's the good kind. Bad paranoia is born from too much free time, while good paranoia is brought from a humble attitude. When you have too much free time, what happens is that you start to accuse people without evidence. You start to be afraid of your own shadow. You start to stir up drama for no reason. This is bad paranoia, and this is not what Andy was talking about. Good paranoia is brought forth through a humble attitude. Because the humble person ultimately will ask the question, what am I missing? A proud person isn't going to ask a question like that, because a proud person thinks they know everything. They feel as though asking the question, what am I missing, is a dent to their ego. So the humble person is always asking, what am I missing? What am I missing? What am I missing? And you'll see that this is the recipe for all great writers, scientists, and inventors. Now, the non-paranoid person is looking at this great writer, scientist, inventor, whatever, and the non-paranoid person is going to look at this guy and say, hey, why are you being so paranoid for? What makes you think you're missing anything? But this guy who's paranoid can now refine their senses in a completely different way to spot the subtle change while it's subtle. So Andy Grove had a brilliant insight, not only for the technology industry, but in life in general. Anytime you're paranoid, allow it to be the good kind of paranoia. The good kind of paranoia that's brought forth from a humble attitude, where you know that you're not always right. And this realization can be made in a shameful circumstance. Because Andy Grove in that book talks about how he took some hits to make this insight of only the paranoid survive. He had to switch industries. He had to get into heated arguments. He had to be proven wrong multiple times for him to realize, whoa, I really don't know anything. And once he became humble, that's when he cultivated the good paranoia, the paranoia that allowed him to notice small changes that other people were completely blind to. But by noticing those small changes when they were small, it was much easier to adjust when he was capable of adjusting. So understand that only the paranoid survive, only if we're talking about the good paranoia. Thank you very much for joining the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel, and I'll catch you next time.